שלנו. נראה שיש לנו פה חורים שמהם יוצאות דבורים. אז בואו ניכנס פנימה ונראה מה קורה. Hello.
Mary.
This is Danny.
Hello, I'm Danny.
Introduce yourself. What are you doing?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Danny Minahan. I'm a postdoctoral researcher here at the Bee Research Center. I've been here 1 year. And I'm currently working on some different projects where we use individually marked bees to track their activity.
Individually marked bees.
Yeah, so we can look at that in a little bit, but we mark bees with barcodes. And then we can use like computer programs that are connected to cameras. Actually, you can see this here when the experiment gets going.
Okay, so first of all, here we have two hives.
Yep.
And those two hives here, this is one hive, and this is the other one, observation hives.
Yep.
And these are the hives that have access to the outdoors?
Yep. Yep. They go through little tunnels that we built that enable us to film the bees that have barcodes on them.
All right, so how does this work?
Yeah, so the bees start off in here inside the hive, and this, I don't know if you can see it in the dark, but there's a lot of honey in here that they've been building.
Okay, first of all, why is it red? Why do you use red?
The red light. We use the red light because honeybees can't actually see in that range of light, and so it allows us to be able to see and work with the system, but the bees actually are not disturbed by this.
Oh,
and so they can continue working their way through the tunnel out towards the light, as they are phototactic.
Okay, so what do we see here?
So what you're looking at here is a custom designed entrance tunnel that facilitates bees crawling out and keeping their thorax, I guess that would be the posterior side of their thorax, facing the camera, which is right here. And so when they walk by with a barcode on their thorax, the camera will pick it up and detect it, and we can actually determine which bee that was and how old they are based on the number that is indicated in the barcode.
Okay, so you give them the barcode the moment they emerge?
The moment they emerge, yeah, 1 day old we call that.
1 day old?
Yep.
So each bee has its own barcode. It has its own ID.
It has its own identification number.
Okay.
Yeah, just like you and I.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And that help you to, what do you do?
It helps me to track the, for this experiment, looking at the foraging activity of the bees throughout their lifetime.
Okay.
So I can track their movements, when they go out of the hive, when they come back, how old they are when they first leave, how old they are when they're last observed. So we can track the entire lifespan of individual bees using these barcodes. It's really cool. Yeah.
Nice. So the camera picks up the barcode, sends it to
the computer.
To the computer here,
where we operate it in MATLAB. We have MATLAB set up to record at certain times of the day that we're looking to get our recordings in, and then it stores it onto an external hard drive, which we can later also use MATLAB to process.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for how long have you been doing this?
We've been developing this system for about 1 year now, and we finally got the first big experiment completed with it. We're looking at the data now and hoping for some very exciting results. And we're also working on a couple more experiments that are getting up and running using the same system.
Okay. Yeah. So this is basically two hives, observation hives.
Yep.
They are like identical to the observation hive that we have outside for visitors?
Indeed. Yeah, no, it's the same thing. 2-frame observation hive with a few thousand bees in there.
Wow.
Yep. And so they're really handy to use because you can actually look inside the hive. We can count the number of bees that are there at any given time. Maybe we can look for how many bees have barcodes.
Can we see bees with barcodes inside the hive?
Not at the moment. I just looked. There's no bees with barcodes in there that we can see right now. But sometimes they actually are you can see their backs facing the comb in this case. And again,
it's hard to see now with the camera and the red light.
Yep. But you definitely can sometimes. Yeah, I got some other older videos of that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. It's pretty cool. And so, but we want to do some experiments where we're actually following bees inside the hive that have the barcodes.
Oh, so you're planning on doing that later?
Yep, that's what we're working on right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually have Maya inside who's working on tagging bees for that process.
Can we go see the process there?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
so we can
let's
actually
go.
see what the barcodes look like.
שלום. אז זאת מאיה.
שלום. אז מה שאני עושה, אני לוקחת דבורה, ועל החלק הדורסלי שלה אני שמה מעט דבק. זה הדבק. מאוד דבק דבורים כזה.
כן.
ואז ממש על החלק של הגב שלה, בין הראש לכנפיים, אני מדביקה את הטאג, שהטאג זה מעין ברקוד כזה, שהוא ממש קטן.
שזה בעצם הלבנים האלה, מה שאנחנו רואים פה.
הלבנים האלה, בדיוק, שלכל אחד יש צורה אחרת, ואני בעצם מסמנת 200 דבורים, אז יש לי פה 100 תגים נגיד ב-800, וזה 100 תגים של 900, שבעצם יעזרו לי, אחרי זה אני אוכל להבחין ביניהם.
מה זה 800 ו-900?
800 זה פשוט מספרים אקראיים, כאילו מ-800 עד 899, ופשוט אחרי זה כל 100 דבורים הם מקבלות טיפול אחר. אז אחרי זה שנערבב אותם נוכל לעקוב אחרי המספרים השונים.
ואיך כל טיפול משפיע על...
נגיד על המטפלות, איך כל טיפול משפיע על הטיפול שלהן בוולדות.
מגניב.
כן.
אז בעצם ככה, בעזרת הברקודים האלה,
נוכל לעקוב אחריהם, אחרי זה עם מצלמה. המצלמה תצלם את הפעילות של הדבורים, ואחרי זה נוכל להמיר את זה בתוכנת מטלאב, נוכל לראות את הברקוד כמספר.
אוקיי. אז פה בעצם יש לנו את החלה שממנה מגיחות
נכון, שבדיוק אנחנו מסמנים דבורים בנות יום, אז מכאן הן מגיחות, לוקחת, מסמנת, הן עדיין לא קצות, אז זה נוח לגעת בהן.
לא קצות, את אומרת.
לא קצות, כן.
אוקיי.
כן.
אז בואי אני נצלם מקרוב, מה את עושה?
אוקיי. אז אני אצעק.
אז שנייה רגע, אני אעשה עם הפוקוס. אוקיי. אוקיי, סבבה.
עכשיו אני שם את זה בטיפולים השונים, כביכול. שופך את הדבורים המסומנות לדבורים שאספנו מקודם.
אז פה בעצם כל קופסה זה טיפול שונה? כל
קופסה תקבל טיפול שונה, יש פה דבורים בנות יום ודבורים שנאספו מהכוורת, כזה יותר מבוגרות.
אוקיי. וגם היותר מבוגרות הן מסומנות?
לא, רק הבנות יום, כי אנחנו בעצם כשהם יהיו שבוע באינקובטור, ואז כשהם יצאו החוצה לכוורת האמיתית, אז הדבורים בנות היום שהם כבר יהיו בנות שבוע, הם מי שיקחו על עצמם את התפקיד של המטפלות. והמבוגרות יותר כבר יהיו משחרות, בתקווה.
Alright, well thank you for watching that video. I'm glad that we could have you visit digitally into the lab here and the projects we're working on with the barcodes. So as you learned that those barcodes can be really useful to track individual bees and track their activities. And this allows us to investigate a lot of new hypotheses that have come about as we've learned that in our lab that bees might be, their cognitive abilities might decline if they consume like a large amount of omega-6 to omega-3. And so now we can look at how that might impact things like their foraging activity, right? So right now we're testing the idea that foragers that have a greater amount of omega-6 in their diet compared to omega-3 are actually going to forage earlier in life, which has been demonstrated to result in impaired foraging abilities. So we can actually test that, or precocious foraging results in impaired foraging abilities. And so we can actually test that, and we can look at things like the lifespan of the bee as it's a forager. And then you saw Maya's experiments too, where she was tagging bees with the barcodes. She's also looking at different feeding behaviors, how bees fed different diets are gonna, whether some are more inclined to feed queens or whether some are more inclined to feed workers. Maybe they spend different times feeding, and this could actually have effects downstream to the next generation and how many bees are fed and how well they're fed. And so we can continue using the barcodes with the MATLAB program. And for example, we got these little coordinate systems. Not sure if you can see that or not, but we can actually map where bees are going to be located on a certain area of comb and see which.
I think this is interesting. Let's see it from up close.
Yeah, sure.
Bring it here.
So we can see where in this image the bees are actually feeding larvae. And so in these cells we have worker larvae, and then we have queen cells up top. and we can actually have a barcoded bee and identify where that bee is within that comb area to see the different patterns of feeding based on the diet that they eat. So these barcodes are really cool for both looking at temporal aspects of bee behavior, such as foraging, but also spatial movements, maybe within the hive and perhaps external to the hive. So it's a very cool tool that we are excited to have developed, and we really look forward to continuing studies with this tool, investigating the behavior of individual bees at multiple scales.
Nice. That was a very interesting experiment.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Danny.
Yeah, thank you.